While all Enneagram 1s are known for being perfectionist, organized, and moral, did you know there's actually 3 different kinds of Enneagram 1s? Watch this video where I'm going to break down what these 3 kinds of type 1s are so you can find out which one you are. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabelle, your spiritual rebel friend, and today we are talking about the 3 different kinds of Enneagram 1s because yes, while all Enneagram 1s are known for their moral, perfectionist, organized nature that is always there to lead the way forward and pick up the slack where others are not, did you know there's actually 3 different kinds of Enneagram 1s you can be? And this is based off of a concept called the instinctual subtypes, which actually play a critical role in understanding your Enneagram type, its growth, its expression, and being able to type correctly. Because oftentimes, some people don't resonate with the Enneagram 1 stereotype. And that is because there's actually 2 other types of Enneagram 1s that are likely going to be very different than the stereotypical Enneagram 1 expression. So in this video specifically, I'm going to break down a brief overview of what the Enneagram is, what the instinctual subtypes are that create these 3 types of Enneagram 1s, what the Enneagram 1 instinctual subtype SX is, what the SP Enneagram 1 is, and what the SO Enneagram 1 is, and how to apply this knowledge. So if you are someone who likes to take in the information about the Enneagram, but also know how to apply it to their life, watch through to the end of this video where I'm going to share some of my top practical tips for applying this knowledge. So really quick overview of what the Enneagram is, because chances are if you're watching this video, you already know what the Enneagram is. But for those who are already viewers on my channel and aren't quite sure on what this concept is, the Enneagram is a personality typing system consisting of 9 types. These 9 types are, so to say, indicated based off of your childhood belief/wound/programming. And this belief that is instilled in you in childhood creates a core desire and a core fear. And so for each of the 9 types, they're going to have a core desire and core fear that drives all that they do. The Enneagram 1 specifically, which we are talking about today, is known as the perfectionist. They also have a few other names, I believe one of which is the reformer, but overall the core desire of the perfectionist is perfection. However, this desire for perfection can express itself in many different ways. Overall, Enneagram 1s are said to be moral first and foremost because they strive for perfection in the external world. They have high standards for themselves and high standards for the world, and they want to make sure that their moralities are being upheld. They're also known for being, in their name, very perfectionist. This could be externally in the sense of making sure their environment is perfect, that every I is dotted and T is crossed, making sure that everything is perfectly organized, or this could be an internal perfection, more so leaning on that morality in the sense of that they have a high pressure on themselves to achieve perfection and be the perfect moral citizen. Oftentimes an Enneagram 1 in stress can be found because they feel this sense that no one else is helping them, that no one else is upholding perfection, and that they're the only ones who seem to have a high moral standard to do good for the world. Knowing your Enneagram type can help you understand what your core desire is that unconsciously drives what you do and what core fears hold you back from your highest growth. Alongside with that, the Enneagram numbers each have their own stress and growth number. However, some Enneagram 1s, while their core desire in the end is morality and perfection, some don't really resonate with that stereotype of, so to say, being this perfectionist, critical person who is nitpicking about their surroundings and making sure that everyone's doing the right thing and kind of coming across as, frankly, bossy. And that is because there are 3 different kinds of Enneagram 1s that are going to express themselves subtly differently based off of a concept called the instinctual subtypes. The instinctual subtypes are rooted in the idea that we really need 3 things for survival. We need to self-preserve to make sure our security is acquired. We need sexual relations to keep society going and have a one-on-one partnership. And we need a social group, a tribe. And so the instinctual subtypes really tie back to the idea that every core fear of each Enneagram type is rooted in a childhood belief associated with survival. The Enneagram 1 feels that they need to be perfect for survival in some means. But based off of which instinctual subtype is most dominant within you, this is going to change how it's expressed. Do you see you need to be perfect by self-preserving, by interacting or attaining sexual connection, one-on-one connection, or through social tribe and interaction? Now, quick disclaimer, to my understanding, everyone has the capacity for all three instinctual subtypes within them because we all need a social group, a partner, and a sense of security to survive. However, there's going to be one that is most dominant within you at certain points in your life, and by understanding which is most dominant in you, this will change how your Enneagram 1 expresses itself and how you fulfill your core desires. So not only can you resonate more with your Enneagram 1 personality by understanding your instinctual subtype, but you can also understand what perfection truly means to you and how you can best strive for that to fulfill your core desire. So without further ado, let's dive into what the three kinds of Enneagram 1s are, and let me know in the comments below if you want me to dive deeper into any of these subtypes and make my own video talking specifically about one subtype, or if you want a video breaking down the concept of the instinctual subtypes even further, because that was just a brief overview of the general information. First things first, let's talk about the SP Enneagram 1, also known as the self-preservation 1. Whenever we have the self-preservation subtype present in a Enneagram type, it adds this aura of passivity to them in my interpretation. And so the word associated, especially in referencing Beatrice Chestnut's book, The 27 Archetypes here, what the word is that is associated with the SP1 is worry. And so this is the Enneagram 1 that is going to appear the most like an Enneagram 6. And I say this from experience because for years we thought that my family and I thought our younger sister was an Enneagram 6, and we just discovered, turns out, that she's an Enneagram 1. Hence why the word worry is often associated. So this could be a potential mistype. The SP1 does still drive and strive for perfection and morality. However, because their desire is to preserve the self, they're going to contain this desire more and keep it more to themselves rather than projecting it in a stereotypical Enneagram 1 way of nitpickiness to the outside world, meaning that they internalize this perfection and they really channel it in the sense of feeling that they need to be the perfect model citizen. Enneagram 1s already repress their anger, and I think that with the SP1, it's likely to be the most suppressed in the sense that they feel this sense that they need to preserve and hide their anger because that is morally incorrect to be an angry person. Already all Enneagram 1s repress their anger for that reason, but this is accentuated with the self-preservation 1. They feel that in order to acquire, attain, and maintain their boundaries, their security, they need to be perfect and harmonious. And like an Enneagram 6, as they often mistype as, these people can seem very kind, gentle, generous, and patient, especially. You would think that these people have no anger to them in many ways, similar to an Enneagram 9, but the difference is they really hold this anger repressed deep down. They're very consciously aware of the fact that they feel anger, but they feel that it is so wrong that they repress it and turn it into guilt for feeling guilty that they even feel anger in the first place. Like I said, the name associated with the self-preservation 1 is worry, and this really does come into play in the sense that the Enneagram 1, the SP1 specifically, worries a lot. Hence why, again, they seem like an Enneagram 6. And so like Beatrice Chestnut says in her book, The Complete Enneagram, which I misreferenced earlier, she says that these people oftentimes grow up in chaotic households where, in a sense, it's morally correct for them to be patient, forgiving, and not have any needs. It's almost similar to the Enneagram 9, but the difference is the core desire is still the same. They are driven by a desire for perfection, and they worry about upholding that perfection, especially in their own lives. These are the people who find that for them, a sense of order or morality plays out in the idea that they need order in their lives. And so these can be people who are very routine driven, who need a lot of plans, who want to know the details, and can seem like worrywarts in the sense that they want to know all the information and are concerned about something being missed because it is their desire to have a perfect environment to preserve themselves, to have their resources be met, and to be able to maintain themselves on their own. As I believe I said earlier as well, the SP1 is most likely to internalize their perfection in the sense that they put the most pressure on themselves, as opposed to, as we'll talk about later, the SX and the SO1, who find that they want to perfect the world around them to attain that internal perfection. But the SP1 is consciously aware that they feel the need to be perfect. And this really plays out in example with my younger sister, who's only 14, but her Enneagram 1 is very strong. Not only does she feel that sense we talked about of, I need to know the plan, I need to know what we're doing, here's what's wrong, and this is what's wrong with other people and what they're doing wrong, but I need to be perfect. She strives to be an excellent gymnast, and any little mistake she makes, she really takes it to heart. And so these people really take mistakes to heart because they have such a strong inner critic telling them that they need to be perfect. So they strive for the perfection. They're extremely hardworking, extremely diligent, but they may find that they're extremely, as well, hard on themselves. Now, on the other hand, not all Enneagram 1s are going to appear as warm and friendly as the SP1. We have also the SO1, which is referred to as non-adaptability, in the sense that Enneagram 1s feel the need to be perfect. All of them do, but how this gets channeled is subtly different. The SO1 feels this sense that in order to be perfect, they have to uphold social standards, is the way I would describe it. And so this oftentimes gives the SO1 more of a cool, calm, or maybe even cold demeanor. These are the people who, in the extreme, can appear as know-it-alls because they feel the need to have authority in order to achieve and maintain perfection within their social groups. In summary, the key takeaway with the SO1 is that they have a desire to attain and maintain perfection through social charm and social groups. These are the people who can be, in many ways, social justice warriors, in the sense that they see what is wrong within systems or groups or communities, and this can bug them on a deep, deep level. Whereas the SP1 is bugged by their own imperfection, the SO1 is bugged by societal imperfection. And so they hold this aura of feeling this sense that they know the way that the world needs to do things and do their best to try to uphold that standard and make an impact on that. The way I would reference this, and I'm not entirely sure that this person was an SO1, but I'm pretty certain, is I used to have a relative who I was in touch with a lot who used to work at the DMV of all places. And so she was seeing up close, up hand, all the problems that we had within society. And it caused her a lot of frustration. As any Enneagram 1 already does, that repressed anger was coming from a place of the world is imperfect, and no matter what I do, it feels like I can't fix it. And so my anger just keeps brimming and building up. The SO1 in the end feels the desire for morality and perfection through their social groups. And so they try to be the example that they want the world to follow. So there can be this, yes, cold demeanor, but this almost putting themselves on a pedestal in the sense that they really put a high pressure on themselves to be similar to the SP1, the perfect model citizen, out of hopes that the world will notice and follow suit. I personally think that the SO1 has more of a potential tendency to take on leadership roles or play more of that leadership role within their friend groups, in the sense that the SP1 is more likely to stay behind the scenes and be that kind, calm demeanor to just follow along and not ruffle any feathers, whereas the SO1 feels more of a need to take a stance. And so they can be known as the friend or the Enneagram 1 who's very certain of their opinions and perspective. And I feel like that kind of sounds like a negative thing as I'm describing it, but overall this can be a gift in the sense that the Enneagram 1, who is the SO1, is very certain of what moral standards should be upheld, and to align with their inner integrity is a very easy thing for them to do. However, their frustration towards society can be one of their biggest frustrations and results of repressed anger. In the end, to be an SO1 means to be perfect, or the belief is at least, to be perfect is to be an authority. And so there's more of an authoritative attitude the SO1 holds than the other two subtypes, and they may find that they really try to lead the way forward, be more assertive, and confidently express what they feel are the moral right ways to move forward as society, and they may be more naturally drawn to social spheres where they can assert that morality and perfection to make an impact on the world. So then within every Enneagram, there is one subtype that is considered the countertype. And this is going to be the type that is still an Enneagram 1, but least resonates with the stereotypes associated with the Enneagram 1, because this countertype goes against their nature. It is counterintuitive, so to say, to their natural subtype or to their natural Enneagram type. And so for the Enneagram 1, the countertype is the SX1, which if the SP wants to perfect the self and the SO wants to perfect the world, the SX wants to perfect others. The SX1 is driven by the desire to find the perfect partner, and they are the countertype in the sense that instead of appearing stereotypically level-headed and maybe even cool and calm in general demeanor, whether that is more pleasant or serious as the SP and SO do, this is the person who passionately, intensely strives to find the perfect partner and may not seem at first glance very type 1-ish. To my understanding of the SX1, because they are so focused on perfecting others, they let themselves, so to say, off the hook, in the sense that they feel that their motive and mission in life is to perfect others. So they strive to perfect others. In a sense, this could be that they are very nitpicky and correcting. But because of this general root desire to perfect others, they find that they can let themselves off the hook in the sense of they can do whatever they need to in order to perfect others, since in the end, that's what their job is. Perfection doesn't necessarily apply to them. They're already there. They can, so to say, do whatever they want. And so hence why this is the countertype to the SX1, because it's possible that the SX1 doesn't seem to be very nitpicky towards themselves. They can seem like a passionate, intense, free spirit, arguably like an Enneagram 7 or an Enneagram 8. Whereas the SP and SO Enneagram 1 feel the need oftentimes to bite their tongue on their perfection to uphold moral standards of what a good citizen is, the SX1 does not. Their sexual underlying instinctual subtype means that anger overall is more naturally expressed, as it is with any SX subtype oftentimes. And so the SX1 can feel like they are very assertive and clear in their opinions. Again, I'm going to use an example of someone who I think personally is an SX1, but I have not guaranteed. A relative of mine, once again, a different one, seems to exhibit very stereotypical SX1 behaviors in the sense that she'll do whatever she wants. She's very outspoken, very assertive, will say things that make you kind of go, should you really say that? In the sense of maybe just speaking her mind or being a bit blunt. But also, not only is she take this attitude of apparently carefree nature to her own life, where she just speaks how she wants, does what she wants, doesn't really ask for permission, but she also constantly perfects other people or tries to criticize other people for their immoral actions in the past. I feel like I'm also making this sound like a negative person. I will say that I'm just using this example for relativity. She's not necessarily a bad person, but from the behaviors I have perceived last time I saw her, there's this energy of, I'm fine. I can drink what I want, do what I want, say what I want, but you did this in the past and that was very wrong of you. This is the kind of person who will bring out literally photo albums of the past to remind people, hey, so see, this is what you did wrong. You might want to improve that. But anyway, I'm fine to go. Point being, the SX Enneagram 1 feels the need to channel their perfection towards others, but they feel this easiness to let themselves off the hook because they truly see that their desire for perfection only needs to be channeled towards others. In the more positive, these people can help people see and bring to light what their flaws are potentially. Their honesty can oftentimes be their philosophy, and they have the capacity to uphold moral standards by bringing that honesty to everywhere they go. In a sense, what can be very much their vice of perfecting others and being harsh or critical can be a strength that the world needs in order to speak their mind and tell people and call people out on what they need to do. Overall, the SX Enneagram 1 is by far going to be the most loud and assertive and potentially even aggressive, appearing like an Enneagram 8. However, the desires are still different. The Enneagram 8 desires challenge, whereas the Enneagram 1 strives for perfection and morality. So there's a lot more that I could cover on each subtype, and I am a bit concerned that I made some sound more negative than others, and frankly, that is just because I do not personally have a deep understanding of these subtypes. I'm just sharing what I know so far. So now that you have a bit of an understanding of what these 3 types of Enneagram 1s are, what do you do with that information? I do want to share in the last few minutes of this video some of my top tips or what I would recommend you do with this information to practically apply it to your life. The very first thing I would do once I have an idea of what subtype may be most dominant in me is ask myself, how did this change how my core desire gets fulfilled? An example for me, I am dominantly an SX Enneagram 9, and I know that means I strive for harmony the most in my one-on-one connections. And so I ask myself with that, maybe it's not my routines that are going to give me harmony. Maybe it's not going to be finding a social group. Maybe I just need to make time for my one-on-one connections. So based off of your dominant instinctual subtype, how can you prioritize healthy perfection in your life? What is the positive expression of your instinctual subtype? If you're an SP Enneagram 1, probably setting up your environment and your self goals to make that sense of perfection feel attained. This might be, and you need to write out your goals more to really show that you've achieved them as an Enneagram 1. Whereas maybe the SO1 needs to surround themselves with people who feel like they're living up to their standards. Find social groups, find social missions or humanitarian causes that live up to your desires as an Enneagram 1 to feel that sense of fulfillment, or maybe even specifically be a leader in this realm. And then the SX1 really needs to probably connect one-on-one with people who feel that they live up to their perfectionist standards or their desire for morality within one-on-one connection. So understanding your instinctual subtype first and foremost helps you understand how exactly you fulfill your core desire, because if you're trying to go about fulfilling your desire for perfection in stereotypical Enneagram 1 ways, such as maybe organizing your closet or perfecting other people or perfecting yourself, it might not be as fulfilling. And the second major tip that I would give about understanding your instinctual subtype and how to apply it is the flaws, in the sense that there's the positive and negative side to each Enneagram subtype. And so understanding your subtype can help you understand how your core fear expresses itself the most and your stress number. The Enneagram moves towards the Enneagram 4 in stress. And so this means that they feel this sense of aloneness in their desire to uphold perfection. There can be a bit of this martyr mentality of feeling like I'm the only one who is doing this. There's definitely just a feeling of aloneness and feeling like they're the only ones upholding perfection. But how that expresses itself will be subtly different based off of your subtype. So understanding what subtype's most dominant in you can help you understand how exactly these stress patterns of the Enneagram 1 present themselves. For example, probably I would think the SP1 in stress the most is going to struggle the most with their inner critic, and they probably need to work on positive self-dialogue the most. The SO Enneagram 1 may struggle with the feelings that the world is never perfect enough and may need to practice more acceptance and compassion. And then the SX1, very similar to the SO, may struggle more mainly not only with how perfect they expect others to be, but how they express that. Maybe choosing how they channel their anger and their passion for perfection will be more important in the sense of how they choose their words and trying to come from a place of understanding and accepting others' imperfection, but also mainly speaking with compassion, similar to an Enneagram 8. And finally, the third tip I would give for understanding your instinctual subtypes is coming back to the idea that we do have the capacity for all 3 subtypes within us. I know I swing between my SX and my SO subtype a lot because I surround myself more with social groups than one-on-one connections. And so understanding which subtype is least dominant in you will likely be the one that helps you maintain balance the most. Yes, the dominant instinctual subtype is how you fulfill your core desire, but also leaning into the other subtypes can help you find how you can become a more well-rounded Enneagram 1 who doesn't have all their eggs in one basket for one key fulfillment. So for example, if you were a dominant SO, Enneagram 1, maybe you could look at, okay, is SP or SX1 harder for me to lean into? And by leaning into maybe SX1 of trying to find perfect connections, people who one-on-one connect with you and uphold the same moral standards you do, could be very fulfilling. Or maybe you could focus instead on the SP subtype and try to perfect yourself, make your own personal goals for perfection, and that could take away the pressure that you put on maybe your social group to achieve that sense of perfection in society at large. So looking at your subtypes and asking yourself which is least dominant, from my personal experience, has helped me balance my desires, because yes, every instinctual subtype shows us what we desire and how we fulfill that, but it also shows us where we may put the most pressure and find the most struggle. So let me know in the comments below, did this video help you understand the Enneagram subtypes of the type 1? Do you have any questions? Did I miss anything? Chances are I probably did, and I'm sure the Enneagram ones down in the comments below will let me know what words I mispronounced, what typos I need to correct, and what I missed about their subtype. In the end, like I said, I'm no expert at this, and so I'm just sharing what I know. So let me know if this helped you in the comments below, and let me know what your subtype is and if this helped you. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down the stars and more, including the Enneagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. From my heart to yours, I bow to you. Namaste.